Hey guys, RexFinance here again in the car. These car videos, I know. I'm also wearing a hat, which is different, but my hair, it's bad. I need a haircut. But anyways, today we're going to talk about CleanSpark. I have some big personal news with CleanSpark as well that I'm going to share towards the end of this video. But holy smokes, it is nice to see the markets finally reward some of this execution that this management team has been great at ever since they entered the space. Like, I just have not understood at all why the market hasn't started respecting the company. And I think a lot of that is going to happen when whatever bull market we get returns or restarts or whatever you want to call it. That's probably when we're going to see the biggest impact and the correction in the valuation and everything. Until then, we got to be patient. Man, I wish I had a
small loan of $1 million
to buy CleanSpark right now. But anyways, I'm gonna eat some lunch. I'm gonna continue this video. We're gonna get into this, why this is just huge news. CleanSpark's now officially the the second largest in the world public Bitcoin mining company. That is huge.
Huge. Not a bad one. Huge.
They've done that in a little over a year and a half, and these other companies have been mining Bitcoin for 4 or 5 years, and CleanSpark has already passed them. So anyways, I'm gonna eat some lunch quick. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna eat some lunch, and we're gonna continue this video. See you then.
All right, my tummy is full. I shaved a little bit. Oh wow, I look very dark. Camera, hello, I'm here. All right, we got a video record. Come on. I shaved a little bit because it's getting a little scruffy, but the hat is going to stay. Obvious why. So today, CleanSpark officially closed on their deal with Mawson Infrastructure Group to acquire this facility in Georgia. The stock market seems to be loving this, with CleanSpark up 2.4%, and yes, we have faded from highs of the day, down about 3.87% from the highs of the day, but when we look at the NASDAQ in general, you'll be able to see the pain. We're crashing down, down about 1.6% as I'm recording this video, and other Bitcoin miners are also deep in the red, while CleanSpark is up 2.5%. Marathon is down over 5% right now. If we check out Riot stock, they are also down almost 5%. So CleanSpark is vastly outperforming today on a day where miners are getting beat up with the rest of the market. It seems like this just is a never-ending pain in the stock market. So we'll have to keep an eye on CleanSpark, but it would be a major win if we even finished the day green today based on everything that's happening. But just to break this down briefly, the company is now at 4.7 exahash per second, and their year-end guidance that they put out just recently in a recent press release here, their end-of-year guidance is only 5 exahash per second, and they're now at 4.7 after they closed this deal. And then they go on to say that they're expected to bring an additional 1 exahash per second on board by the end of the year, meaning they're going to be at 5.7 exahash per second by the end of the year, and their guidance is only 5 exahash per second. I challenge you to find me one other Bitcoin mining company out there that has executed the way CleanSpark has, especially in this bear market. I mean, has any other company risen their guidance this year several times? No. Has any other company out there been buying in this bear market at rock bottom prices? No. So it's just been mind-boggling to me why CleanSpark has not yet gotten respect from the public markets. As I already prefaced earlier in my car, I believe that a lot of that is going to come whenever we get our next bull market. So we might be sitting here waiting a while before CleanSpark finally gets the respect it deserves and actually has a proper valuation. But alongside this acquisition, CleanSpark also acquired about 6,500 ASIC miners from Mawson Infrastructure Group for about $9.5 million in cash. So we now have some changes we need to make to my price target spreadsheet here. At the end of 2022, via my most recent video, I had CleanSpark reaching 5.2 exahash per second. We just found out today that I am short on that again. They're going to be at 5.7, probably higher than that if they keep up with their execution and outperformance. So I'm going to go ahead and change that really quickly there. But I'm also going to adjust these network hash rate numbers because if we go back to Google, And I'll show you this really quickly and then go look at Bitcoin difficulty. We can see kind of what the network is doing, and difficulty went up 13.5% recently despite the price of Bitcoin being pretty flat. And right now the total network hash rate is about 267 exahash per second. And in my spreadsheet, I had the network hash rate by the end of year only reaching 275. I'm going to change this to 300 because as it stands now, it's going to reach higher than 275 exahash per second, which also means I'm going to raise 2023 to 450. And these are all guesses. There are no good ways to estimate or forecast this stuff. So don't get mad at me if this is wrong. Even the most sophisticated investors out there, institutional investors, really have no idea what network hash rate is going to look like in the coming few years. But I'm just going to boost those numbers up a little bit here. And we can see that by the end of the year, CleanSpark is going to be mining around 2% of the total Bitcoin being mined. They're going to own about 2%, 1.9% of the total Bitcoin mining network. If they keep up their growth and their expansion and outperformance, they're going to reach about 5% of the network in 2023. And then in 2024, this gets a little bit spotty in here because we're going to have the Bitcoin halving event take place. So these numbers are a bit of a guesstimate as well. But according to my numbers right now, they'd be at about 5.33% of the total network. And obviously, all of my numbers that I'm inputting here kind of funneled down the spreadsheet to the revenue opportunities. And for 2022, I picked a average Bitcoin price of $20,000, which has been pretty much spot on so far, which gives them an annualized revenue number of $125 million, essentially. And because they're in expansion mode, I have them losing about $50 million on the bottom line this year. Could be wrong. They could turn a profit. They could lose more money than I expect. These are just my estimates. And again, if you guys disagree with my estimates, you can download this spreadsheet for yourself and input your own numbers here. I've made this available to all of my members. And as a special gift to you guys, I've actually created a temporary membership where you guys can join the Patreon for $3 per month. Now, there are only 20 of these available. And last time I did something like this, about 50 people signed up. So if you want to join the membership, now's the time. You can get a $2 discount, which is like 40% discount on the base tier. And you know what? If you don't enjoy your stay, I will give you a 100% refund on your first month. I have yet to have anybody ask me for a refund. If that is a tiebreaker for you, I would love to have you join the Discord server. We have an epic community there. And now is the time where you want to be in a stock market community that can help you get through this brutal, gruesome bear market. You can also join the membership via YouTube itself by hitting the join button right next to the subscribe button. I would rather you join Patreon, though, because they let me keep more of my money. YouTube takes like a 30% cut, where Patreon only takes 10%. And that's why I'm incentivizing you to join the Patreon. But again, only 20 of these spots are available. Last time I did this, about 50 people joined. So get on your high horse, get in the Discord server. Would love to chat with you tonight. Anyways, let's go back to the good stuff. You can see that since my most recent CleanSpark video, this really didn't change my price target numbers for the company because I had already inputted all of this stuff in the mining rig purchases journal. These are the mining rigs that they purchased along with the acquisition. The only thing I changed was CleanSpark's exahash per second number to 5.7 from 5.2, and then I changed the total network hash rate to properly reflect all of the new miners that are coming on board and online and starting to mine Bitcoin. But you can see, based on my 2022 price target, regardless of the fact that I haven't changed much, CleanSpark is still 569% undervalued in my personal opinion. Now, it's important to realize what my price target means. This does not mean I think CleanSpark is going to hit $20.16 by the end of 2022. This does not mean I think CleanSpark is going to hit $101.61 by the end of 2023, and the same thing for 2024. What it does mean is that I think CleanSpark is an undervalued stock so long as it is below this price target of $20.16. Which is why I believe right now it is 569% undervalued. To sum this up further, basically what that means is I am willing to buy shares of CleanSpark up until it hits $20.16 per share, and this is not a prediction of what the share price is going to be and when it's going to hit that number. Anybody's guess is as good as mine. The stock market's going to remain choppy, especially in this economy. Nobody knows what's going to happen. The last thing I wanted to cover in this video before I share with you my personal news with CleanSpark is something that has to do with the entire stock market and the entire economy, not just CleanSpark. It seems more and more prevalent in the stock market community where people are predicting a lost decade in the stock market, where the stock market returns for the next decade are going to be flat and nobody's going to make any money. There's also more and more people predicting an economic collapse beyond recoverability, and there are so many fears, uncertainties, and doubts being spread out there in this stock market. And this is not anything new. This happens at least once a decade. In 2008 and 2009, there were an abundance of people predicting the same things that they're predicting today, that the stock market would face a lost decade, that the economy was going to crash beyond recoverability. Guess what happened? Neither of those things did, and the stock market recovered right alongside the economy. Think back to the tech bubble. Valuations got way out of hand. There were fears out there that caused enough disruption in the financial markets that stocks would never recover again. In the late 1980s, when there was a recession, the same exact thing happened. I come from a farm family in Nebraska. In the late 1980s, my grandpa and his siblings that owned my family farm and feedlot made some huge mistakes. They had to make some very difficult decisions in order to keep their business afloat. And keep in mind, this family business of mine was started in 1932. So there was 50 years in there where my family business was performing really, really well. My great-grandpa was ahead of the game, ahead of the market, because he would go take trips to the big city of Omaha in Nebraska, and he would know what was going on in the hog markets and in every single market. Back then, they didn't have the internet for this, so he got ahead of the market and was very, very successful. But in the late 1980s, when interest rates were in the 15, 16, 17% range, lots of businesses got in a lot of trouble. Agriculture in the United States of America was in a very, very bad place. My great-grandpa and his sons had to make very, very difficult decisions to keep the family business afloat. They had to sell thousands of head of cattle to keep the business afloat. They also had to hand down the entire farming operation of the family business to my 23-year-old dad and his 20-year-old brothers. They took over that business because my great-grandpa and his sons had to focus on the feedlot side of the business. Things were not pretty at all. People were concerned that farming, agriculture, livestock, I don't know if any of this is ever going to recover. There are bankruptcies happening everywhere. Interest rates are way too high. People have borrowed way too much money. This is not looking good. Through all of that, guess what happened? My family business is still in operation today. The economy bounced back, agriculture bounced back, livestock bounced back, interest rates came down, the economy recovered very, very well. So my point here is that every single decade there are going to be fear-mongers out there, and there are going to be an abundance of people, at least once a decade, that are so convinced we're going to have a lost decade in the economy, that the economy is beyond recoverability, that there has been permanent damage caused to the economy in the markets in the United States and worldwide. Now, yes, this time could very well be different. It very well could be. Maybe this is the time where we don't recover from this economic catastrophe. I don't know. Maybe that's true. But with 200 years of history on our side in the stock market, anytime there have been fears popping up about this stuff, it has never held true. The U.S. economy has always held true, held strong, and made it through those tough time periods. There's a reason nobody ever bets against America, and when you do, you pay the price for it. In the stock market, there is one word that makes or breaks people. And unfortunately, most people break. And that one word is patience. Patience makes people fail at investing if they don't have it. Patience also can create the likes of Warren Buffett, Peter Lynch, and Peter Thiel. Patience is the most powerful word in the stock market. If you don't have it, you won't succeed. But if you do have it, you're going to have a very, very lucrative life. It sounds simple, But it's not, because there are people out there everywhere saying that we are never going to recover from this coming economic catastrophe. And that gets into your head. But right now, Warren Buffett out there right now has been buying stocks like crazy this year because he is a smart investor. In Q2, he continued his buying spree in 2022, where he purchased over $1 billion worth of his own stock, and he also purchased about $4 billion worth of other stocks out there in the public markets. Warren Buffett was greedy when others were fearful. So right now in the stock market, and this is what I believe I'm looking at in CleanSpark, you could have a company with top-notch management, with extremely good execution, doing everything right, and their valuation still might not match up with the fundamentals. At under $3 per share with CleanSpark, I would argue that the markets are almost pricing them in for bankruptcy. Their market cap is nearing $100 million, yet the company itself is managing over $500 million in assets, and they're going to do over $100 million in revenue this year and probably have positive adjusted EBITDA. Meaning, if you don't understand that the company has basically zero risk of going bankrupt. They also don't have that much debt on their balance sheet. So if they need to go out and borrow some money, they can pull that lever and do so. But people forget that fundamentals always matter. When the valuations aren't matching up with company fundamentals, that is a time to buy and hold that stock. These sorts of opportunities do not come very often. Only a few times in one's lifetime do fundamentals and valuations not match up as much as they don't right now. But you know what else doesn't come around very often? Immediate gratification, which is what investors seem to want anytime they buy a stock. And that is a huge mistake. That is being impatient and expecting immediate returns on your stock. And if that doesn't happen, I'm going to blame the management team for it because they're doing something wrong. Unfortunately, that's not as simple as it is. That's not how the stock market works. And this especially is true today, where the economy is in shambles. Your guess is as good as mine as to what the economy is going to look like even tomorrow. And basically what that means is nothing is going to be fixed overnight in the economy. Things are going to remain choppy. This is going to be a long process and a long recovery. But that is when you make the most money on stocks. It's when you buy and hold when everybody is telling you not to because there's something wrong with the company. There's something wrong with the management team. This market is never going to recover. This economy is going to cause damage that is irreparable. That is when you make the most money because coming out of that bottom, coming out of that pain, you have this long road of recovery that generally results in stock prices taking a long road to recovery and setting new highs eventually. So just like Warren Buffett is right now, my hashtag not financial advice is to go out and buy the dip immediately because there are tremendous rare in occurrence deals out there right now that you can buy. Can things go lower? Absolutely. But that's why you buy more if things go lower. Eventually, you're going to be caught with your pants down and the market will bounce and you won't buy back in because you're going to say, the market's just going to fall back down. It has to, right? And then it doesn't. It's the same thing that happened in March of 2020. Do you remember all of the people that were jealous of the people that had the cojones to buy at the market bottom? There were so many people out there. And as soon as those jealous people finally decided to buy into the market, it was after the market had already reached new all-time highs. They were the ones propelling my portfolio higher because I bought in COVID lows. They were the ones that were giving me money in return on my investment because they didn't have the cojones to buy when the market was already at lows. Okay, now that my ramble is over with, I'm going to end this CleanSpark video with a little bit of personal news in relation to me and CleanSpark. November 1st and 2nd, I will be visiting CleanSpark's facilities in Atlanta, Georgia. I have never been there despite covering this company for 2 or 3 years at this point. So I'm really excited about this opportunity to go and record some interviews, get some video footage of what it looks like inside America's most efficient Bitcoin mining facility. I have a lot of video ideas planned for the trip. I am very excited about it. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, here on YouTube especially, so you don't miss any of that content. I'm going to be attending a private dinner on the night of November 1st with the CleanSpark management team and a bunch of institutional investors and other media personnel that are going to be there. And don't fret, I will ask institutional investors why they're not buying more stock. Okay, maybe I won't because I might get scared. But again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys are new here or returning and not yet subscribed, please subscribe down below. It makes my day. Again, I'll pin a comment down below with a link to my Patreon page. Please sign up and join the membership. Now's the best time to do that because you can join a group of like-minded individuals that helps get us through this brutal, gruesome market and helps keep each other patient and buying the right things and not trading and making a bunch of mistakes. I think you're going to see immediate return on investment, which again, if you don't, you can always request a refund from me and I will refund you 100%. With that, I'm going to end this video here. Stay blessed. Have a great rest of your day. Keep your chin up, 10 toes to the ground. Peace out.